So I'm going to make this video super short and sweet, just how I like to do my studying, because we do not have enough time throughout clinical rotations to spend hours upon hours of studying. So let's get right to this and hopefully help you guys to excel and crush your shelf exams. There's only three main things that I'm going to be talking about to teach you guys how to crush your shelf exams. So one is minimize your resources, two is make sure to use spaced repetition, and three, use UWorld to supplement your studying. Alright, so let's get right down to it and break these down. So you bare minimum resources. Alright, so I would recommend one big board review book, and that could either come in the capacity of Master the Boards or Online MedEd. I mentioned those two because they are very, very popular. For me, it was Online MedEd. Okay, so that is going to be your go-to resource for your shelf exams and for your Step 2 CK. And so why I mentioned Step 2 CK is because what you want to do is for all your little goals that you want to accomplish, you want to make sure that those are helping you to accomplish your big goal at the end. So our little goals right now are to crush the shelf exams, but this should be building up to helping us crush Step 2 CK, and so that's what we want to do. So pick one resource, and for me that was Online MedEd. I thought it was more than enough for all the shelf exams and for Step 2 CK. It was such a great resource. And just a little background on myself so that you guys know that that I can talk about this, is that I did very well on my shelf exams, and I truly believe it was because of my study tactics and study habits. And so I was able to get honors on all but two of my shelf exams, and on those other two I did get A's on them. So if you use these tactics, I do believe that you'll do very well. Alright, so after you've picked that one resource that you are going to use for all of your shelf exams and for your Step 2 CK studying, the next thing needs to be spaced repetition. And so I believe in a 5-pass system, which I will link the video below to teach you guys about because I've done a video on it. But pretty much what it is that you're going to see material 5 times within a given week and then 6 times within 2 weeks. And why you do this is because you want to know as much on these notes as you can. And so with Online MedEd, if you go through this material 5 times in a week, 6 times in 2 weeks, you should have retained the majority of this information. And I'm just going to touch really quickly, this is not just rereading it, that you need to do active recall. So with every pass, you do not need to open up the notes. They need to be sitting on your desk, down in front of you. You're not going to open them until you try to recall from your head everything you can from those notes. And after 5 minutes of not remembering anything else, that's when you're allowed to open the notes and then go back through them, read them, learn them, and understand what they're saying. Okay, and in Online MedEd, there's a lot of systems, a lot of algorithms that you need to really know cold that'll come in so handy on your exam, so that when you're taking your exam, you see a question in that algorithm, immediately just goes through your brain, you get to the answer, and you can pick it really quickly. And so why I'm only recommending one resource for all this spaced repetition and for all this learning is because you do not want your brain cluttered up with too many resources. Because these exams, you don't have enough time as it is, and you don't really have enough time to study more than one resource as it is. So you just want your brain completely focused and dialed in on one thing so it doesn't get confused when you come to a question and you're like, I saw this here, but I saw this here, and I think I saw this in this book. No, you do not want any of that. You want it completely clear, completely focused, no distractions, so you can get right to the answer. Alright, so spaced repetition is very, very important. And for all of your rotations, they're at least 6 weeks. So like I said, 5 times in 1 week, then 6 times within 2 weeks, 7 times in another 2 weeks, and 8 times in another 2 weeks, because all your rotations are 6 weeks. So bare minimum, you should be able to get through 8 passes of the material, and maybe even more than that. And now in medicine, it is a little bit harder because there's a lot more information. Okay, and so for my third tip is utilizing UWorld. UWorld should be implemented into all of your studying for Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, whatever it is, you need to be using UWorld. And so how I would do that is I would treat every UWorld question just like it was an exam. I would scrutinize every answer choice, I would scrutinize every explanation, and anything I did not know from that I would put in a little black book that I review every night, because this is material I didn't know, so this is stuff I need to know. So I'd make sure to do spaced repetition with it, and then I would also, anything I didn't know or things that pertained to stuff I saw in Online MedEd or things that Online MedEd was lacking, I would annotate that into Online MedEd, so then when I'm doing my 5-pass system, not only am I getting a 5-pass system of Online MedEd, I'm also getting it of UWorld. And so with these tactics, I truly believe that you could crush these shelf exams. Okay, so really quick before I end, I just want to touch on something. that I'm sure that a lot of you are thinking about, like, how in the world do I have time to do this? Well, the thing is life is busy, rotations are busy, but you can do it. And how you do it is wake up an hour before work to make sure you get an hour of studying in. An hour before you go to bed, make sure you get an hour of studying in. So bare minimum, that's 2 hours a day. But then all throughout your clinical rotation, any spare time you have where you are not loving on your patients, where you are scrolling on Facebook, scrolling on Instagram, stop doing that and make sure to use your time very wisely throughout your rotation. When you have spare time, make sure you're studying, make sure you go through the 5-pass system, make sure you're doing questions. And I would recommend personally doing more studying than an hour in the morning and an hour at night, but I know people get burnt out. So I personally did a lot more than that, but that's completely up to you. And remember, take breaks, take breaks, take breaks, take breaks, because you want to be refreshed and you want to be able to go into your studying with everything you have. Alright, so that's all I have for this video. I know it was super short and not all that detailed, but if you would like more detail or if you have more questions, just comment below. So if you've enjoyed this video, please, please, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends to help them crush their shelf exams, and also subscribe to my channel. I love you guys so much, and I wish you all the success in your third year with these shelf exams. So before I go, I want you to know that you are greatly, greatly loved, and that you are wonderfully and beautifully created, and that you are capable of far more than you could ever imagine.